each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right. Morning, Leisure. Good to see ya. We're doing today's daily reflection. I didn't do it this time, but the pot has been stirred again. Everybody's coming out of the woodwork now. Now that other people are brave enough to say something, there's a Me Too movement going on. I didn't do it this time. It wasn't me. I don't need to anymore. But I do have to admit I'm reveling it in a little bit. I'm probably enjoying it a little too much. You know. So anyway, does it honestly doesn't matter. But I usually check in with everybody, tell you where I'm at, things that I'm doing. Yeah. Right now the red foreman is coming out at me, which means I'm gonna start putting my foot up butts. But you gotta do it kindly. Gotta do it kindly. Not nice, kind. All right, let's get started. That's enough of that. Blah, 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 blah. All right. Looks like we're going to be in the 12 by 12, page 139. We're going to be talking about tradition 5. No. It'll be a tradition. Tradition 3. Something like that. Oh. Would somebody teach? We got a watcher or a listener, who doesn't know how. So this is what I'm going to do. So, but if you're on a phone, can you just make a comment on how to chat, because they're not able to chat. So if you tell them, then you have to bring it up if you're on a phone, right? So here, I'll share my screen. No, that's not going to help you because I'm on my computer. So, but usually you have to click something to open up the chat. But if you're on a phone or something, can you put directions on how to do that for my other listeners? I'd really appreciate it. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. I will be your host today and the foreseeable future. Been a while since somebody told me you need to get some more people on there with you. Well, if you can find the willing people, Leisure say go on with me. Maybe we ought to set that up sometime. Talk with Christine tomorrow. Maybe we'll go live. We'll see what happens. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. I'm working on some other guests going on, but it might be a paid feature. It might be a paid feature on my website to access the other stuff. But if you are one of my usual listeners, if you are somebody that has been supporting me, you're going to get it for free. I got to take care of the people that take care of us. My other stuff will always be free. Always. I will never charge for talking about AA. I won't. Yeah. Yeah, we've done it before in the past. Absolutely. It's the only time. Oh, no, I met you at Primary Purpose a few times. I just don't remember much at that point because I was going in and out, in and out, in and out. In fact, they were going to install a revolving door for me. I'm sure. Just double checking the chat stuff here. Okay. So tradition 3, it's literally starting on the first page, tradition 3, right? What we're talking about here is true tolerance. Let me tell you something. It took me 2 years to get 30 days. I told you, revolving door. I was in and out, in and out. Is my shirt on inside out? No, okay. Actually, I think it is. Yeah, my shirt's on inside out. Oh, let's fix that. Sorry, I may swear a lot, but no nudity. Now I have it on backwards. All right. There we go. All right. Yeah. Oh, you were that Dion. Yeah, right, dude. like you know a shit ton of Dions or something. That Dion. Oh, you mean Dion? Yeah, it was me. Let's get started. Now that I have figured out the correct way to put on my shirt. The only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. We help anybody that wants to get sober. Alcoholic, drinking problem drinker, sober curious. Right? Yesterday during the hybrid meeting, there was the school therapist for CRC was there. And she was just working in there. I went in and, we had a great talk about what AA was it what it wasn't. Again, same shit comes up. Religion. We are not religious. She's like, thank you for letting me know that. She even stuck around for the meeting because she just wanted to hear what it was like. Well, it's an open meeting, and that means that she can go. So an open meeting is open to everyone that is, that wants to learn about AA. That is an open meeting. And anybody can attend. It doesn't matter who they are. Here's the thing with open meetings. Only alcoholics can share. Only alcoholics can put money in the basket. A closed meeting is for people who have a desire to stop drinking, and that is it. If you do not have a desire to stop drinking, then you cannot go to a closed meeting. You don't even have to say you're alcoholic. You just need to have a desire to stop drinking. Doesn't matter what form. Okay. A true desire. And we'll know if you're full of shit. We'll know pretty quick. This church tradition is packed with meaning, for AA is really saying to every serious drinker, you are an AA member if you say so. Yeah, you're not an AA member until you declare it. No matter who you declare yourself in, nobody can keep you out. No matter who you are, no matter how low you've gone, no matter how grave your emotional complications, even your crimes, we still can't deny you AA. We don't want to keep you out. We aren't a bit afraid that you'll harm us, never mind how twisted or violent you may be. We just want to be sure that you get the same great chance for sobriety that we've had. So you're an AA member the minute you declare yourself. Simple. Huh? Hi, Clara. Were you screaming so I'd look up? It's good to see you. All right, so pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We don't even really need to know much more than that, do we? So, well, thanks everybody for being here. No, just kidding. To establish this principle of membership took years of harrowing experience. In our early time, nothing seemed so fragile, so easily breakable as an AA group. Hardly an alcoholic we approached paid any attention. Most of those who did join were like flickering candles in the windstorm. Time after time, their uncertain flames blew out and couldn't be relighted. Our unspoken constant thought was which of us may be next? All right. So in the beginning, AA meetings were invite only. and you were sponsored into the meeting. So I'm sitting in a hospital, shaking, trembling, got DTs, but I'm homeless. AA is not going to take me. Not back then. I would not have fit the description. If I was female, maybe not. Maybe I'm under 30. Nope. See, they only serve the respectable alcoholic, which doesn't really exist, does it? So the way that you got into AA is, so I'm sitting there, two people come in from Alcoholics Anonymous Akron, right? And they work with me. Yeah, this person works. Yeah, he fits everything. Now what happens is I am sponsored into an AA meeting. And that is how you found AA. We had to hide. We met in secret in the beginning. Because nothing was so fragile as a new AA group. Now it's pretty strong, huh? So these years of harrowing experience that they put together for us, I'm grateful for the old timers, including all the ones that get on my fucking nerves. Because AA is still here, is it not? All this shit talk about AA and it's inadequate, it's antiquated, and all these other things. No, it's not. Go pick up a fucking dictionary, for God's sakes. Learn a few words, challenge yourself. I had to do the same thing. There are some words in there I didn't know. You even got Google. All you got to do is ask your phone, how much easier can we make it? Oh no, you got to do a little work. It's not antiquated. In fact, it still fits perfect. And how is it not antiquated? Well, the 5th edition's coming out. The stories in the back change to fit whatever's currently going on. It does. We do everything that we can to meet people where they are at. These new ones will have COVID stories and Zoom stories and those types of things. So don't tell me A's antiquated. What I would call that is contempt prior to investigation. What I would call that is you were unwilling to do the work. So you created your 3 easy steps that you were willing to do, steps 1, 2, and 3, which required none of the action. That way you could just blame AA for who you are. Yeah. All right. Hardly an alcoholic. A member gives us a vivid glimpse of those days. At one time, he says every AA group had membership rules. Everybody was scared witless that something or somebody would capsize the boat and dump us all back into the drink. Our foundation office asked each group to send in its list of protective, that's in quotations, regulations. The total list was a mile long. If all these rules had been in effect everywhere, nobody could have possibly joined AA at all. So great was the sum of our anxiety and fear. All right. Leisure says, keep coming back, says the old timer. Yeah, he's an old timer. What is an old timer? 10 plus years. Right. 10 plus years is an old timer. I love it when I hear people say, yeah, my name is so-and-so, and I'm a person of long-term recovery. That usually means they have like 2-3 years. No, I'm sorry, but not even close. I know that we look better, we feel better. AA is what's called a catalyst, but that doesn't mean that we haven't dealt with our trauma. See, we cannot transmit something we do not have. That includes recovery, right? So why else were they witless? There was a group before us called the Washingtonians. They did a lot of what we did, but during this time they decided to back a political figure, and it destroyed it. It divided it, and the Washingtonians fell apart like a leper in a hailstorm. That is a Dion original joke, by the way. Some people laugh. Other people are like, what the fuck's wrong with you? I'll tell you what's wrong with me. I'm crazy. I'm crazy. I cray. And I don't mind. I enjoy myself very much. It's actually one of my old lines was, you should see how funny I think I am when I'm drunk. All right. We were resolved to admit nobody do AA but that hypothetical class of people we termed pure alcoholics, except for their guzzling and the unfortunate result thereof. There could have been no other complications. So beggars, tramps, asylum inmates, prisoners, queers, plain crackpots, and fallen women were definitely out. Yes, sir, we cater to only the pure, respectable alcoholics. Any others would surely destroy us. Besides, if we took in those odd ones, what would decent people say about us? We built a fine mesh fence around AA. Now, clearly, it's not that way anymore, right? A lot of fear. Can you really blame them? Don't you love your AA group? What if somebody came in and was intentionally trying to destroy it? Would you do something about it? Or would you sit on your hands? You would do something about it. Yeah, I bet your ass you would. Yeah. We can't do that, can we? Most of us wouldn't be here. Maybe this sounds comical now. Not really. I understand why, right? They didn't have the information that we have yet. So thank God they went through all of this so that we could learn. Now we need to build on it instead of arguing over it. Maybe you think old timers were pretty intolerant, but I can tell you there was nothing funny about the situation then. We were grim because we felt our lives and homes were threatened, and that was no laughing matter. Intolerant, you say, well, we were really frightened. Naturally, we began to act like most everybody does when afraid. After all, isn't fear the true basis of intolerance? Yes, we were intolerant. So, yeah, fear is the true basis of intolerance. I'm watching it right now. Told you the pot was stirred this morning. It was me. Oh, man. And they are defending themselves. Can't take responsibility. God forbid you get it. This is what happens when somebody utilizes the program for popularity. They can't handle one bad review. You want to know how many reviews I have? None. So thanks for that. I don't ask for reviews. I don't give a fuck if you give me a review. Well, it might help if I build this other thing. It might help. So yes, they were intolerant. I would have been intolerant too. Nah, until I learned better and saw the light. But it would probably have to be taught to me. Just being honest. To sit here and think, oh, I wouldn't have acted that way. Bullshit. Yeah, you would have. In that situation, not knowing the information that we know now, yes, that's exactly what you would do. I don't want to hear about. All right. How could we then guess that all those fears were to prove groundless? How could we know that thousands of these sometimes frightening people were to make astonishing recoveries and become our greatest workers and intimate friends? Was it credible that AA was to have a divorce rate far lower than the average? Could we then foresee that troublesome people were to become our principal teachers of patience and tolerance? Every conceivable kind of character would cut across every barrier of race, creed, politics, and language with ease. This is all true of AA. It is. Remember, times were different. Women couldn't vote by this point. Black people couldn't vote by this point. No. So yeah, we had to cut across barriers because the alcohol doesn't understand race or creed or gender or morals or money or lack of money or any material thing out there. It doesn't understand it. It does not give a fuck. And neither do we. We don't. Leisure says, keep using your voice where God intends you. Keep making a difference, brother, no matter what. Love you, brother. And I love you too, Leisure. Thanks for that. It's always nice to hear accolades, man. And I try. It's all you really can do is just try your best. Can't do much more than that, right? So why did AA finally drop all of its membership regulations? Why did we leave it to each newcomer to decide for himself whether he was an alcoholic or whether he should join us? Why did we dare say, contrary to the experience of society and governments everywhere, that we neither punish nor deprive any AA membership, that we must never compel anyone to pay anything, believe anything, or conform to anything? Why? Well, part of it is because nobody likes to be told what to do. But they figured out, and it's coming up, that we had to be all-inclusive, never exclusive. We have to find reasons to say yes in AA, even when we want to say no. We got to find that reason. What would the master want? That's coming up, by the way. I know this book pretty well. So, okay. The answer is now seen in Tradition 3 with simplicity itself. At last, experience taught us that to take away an alcoholic's full chance was sometimes to pronounce his death sentence and often to condemn him to endless misery. Who dared be judge, jury, and executioner of his own sick brother? I tell you, this is going on all over the place. I'm just going to bring this up real quick. You know, misinformation in recovery has the power to kill. And when you do it intentionally, to me, you're no worse, you're no better than a fentanyl dealer. You're not. You're intentionally keeping people sick so that you can manipulate them. We don't do that here. Do you know what divides the whole thing? What the division? It's money, man. Anytime money comes up into the situation, it's the number one argument, even in group consciousness. Except for the grassroots group conscious, we're pretty good about that stuff. Anyway, so who gets to be judge, jury? I don't. And executioner. That's death. I want everybody in my community. I cannot save the world, but I can. Okay. This is what I did. I took care of me. I made sure that I was okay. Then I did my household. My household is healed. All my kids are talking to me. None of my kids drink. And none of my grandkids better be drinking because the oldest one's 13. So oh, shit. I started drinking at 13. Shit. He's not my blood grandson. He doesn't have my disease. And he doesn't. He doesn't. Thank you, God. Right. So as group after group, then I started working on my community. Now I work on my community, right? And I'm doing everything that I can, but it ain't easy. Do you know how much fucking red tape I got to go through? Or that I've had to go through? Hey, Angel, it's good to see you. You're like, oh, this is why you weren't replying to my text. Right? So, they finally abandoned all membership regulations. One dramatic experience after another clinched this determination until it became our universal tradition. Here are two examples. On the AA calendar, it was year 2. In that time, nothing could be seen but 2 struggling, nameless groups of alcoholics trying to hold their faces up to the light. So they had a meeting in New York and a meeting in Akron. One was run by Bob. One was run by Bill. Or at least that's where those were their home groups or whatever. Probably not run by this point. All right, a newcomer appeared at one of these groups, knocked on the door, and asked to be let in. He talked frankly that the group's oldest member. He soon proved that his was a desperate case, and that above all he wanted to get well. But he asked, "Will you let me join your group since I am the victim of another addiction, even worse stigmatized than alcoholism? You may not want me among you, or will you?" I know we alcoholics are curious and we love drama. If I remember correctly, it was drugs. They talk about them in those goofballs. And goofballs back then were people that used drugs. Okay. So, right. So, and nowadays, this would not be unusual for us, would it? So, but this is the first time that this kind of happened to them. There was the dilemma. What should the group do? The oldest member summoned two others and in confidence laid the explosive facts in their laps. Nowadays, it wouldn't be explosive, but we'd be like, okay, and all right, yeah, this conversation's over. Why are we even talking about it? In their lap, said he, "Well, what about it? If we turn this man away, he'll soon die. If we allow him in, only God knows what trouble he'll brew. What shall the answer be? Yes or no?" At first, the elders could only look at the objections. We deal, they said, with alcoholics only. Shouldn't we sacrifice this one for the sake of the many? What an egotistical thing to say. Intolerant. And what was it based off of? Fear. It was based off fear, which means what? It's no good, right? So went the discussion while the newcomer's fate hung in the balance. Then one of the three spoke up in a very different voice. "What are we really afraid of," he said, "is our reputation. We are much more afraid of what people might say than the trouble this strange alcoholic might bring. As we've been talking, 5 short words have been running through my head. Something keeps repeating me. What would the master do? Not another word was said. What more indeed could be said? Now you may think this no longer goes on, that people don't make choices based off of what the reputation of the group is going to be, but you would be absolutely wrong. It happens more now than it did back then. It's called the Abilene effect, and it's where a group of people get together and make a vote based on popularity rather than the right thing. And it happens all the time. Likes, loves, comments, all those things, reputation. Earlier, I told you shit was being stirred. They got one bad review. That's their reputation. Oh man, it just fanned the flames. They couldn't handle one bad. Oh no, one bad review. You want to know why? Because all their other reviews are written by families and friends and probably bought and paid for. That's why. Don't totally believe reviews. Yes, stacking the deck. Thank you, Clara. That's exactly it. Reputation happens all the fucking time, right? Word had got back to me. One of my wife's cousins. I know a lot of musicians, right? And my wife's, anyway, she has this one cousin never quite got along with, and they know some people that don't like me. And you know what they did? They went to them and said that my wife was dealing drugs, and he started to pass that rumor around. Right? Oh, I wrote him, and he shut his fucking mouth. If he wants to go after reputation, I'm like, if you want to go after reputation, dude, it's not going to be that hard for me to tear you down. I would suggest you shut your mouth. But even when somebody goes after my reputation, I feel the need to defend it. Do I not? Yes, I do. Do I always get to? No, not even close. Mm-mm. But it would fall on deaf ears. So what does it matter? What does it matter? Are we trying to help people, or are we worried about our reputation? All right. Overjoyed, the newcomer plunged into 12-step work tirelessly. He laid AA's message before scores of people. Since it was a very early group, those scores have since multiplied themselves into thousands. Never did he trouble anyone with his other difficulty. AA had taken his first formation in tradition street, right? Yeah, I defended you also, Angel. I'll defend my friends before I defend my own reputation. Right. Just like I was saying to somebody, like keeping our mouth shut or whatever. I just got done saying about um I blocked the breach. Oh, thanks. Uh, um I don't quite remember what I was saying on that stuff. But with this guy, right, he ended up helping people. So there's a lot of people that we would call, nowadays we call it duly diagnosed, right? But really it's drug of choice. If I put alcohol, cocaine, and heroin on the table, which one are you going for? If you say alcohol, you're an alcoholic. If you say heroin, you should probably try NA. Oh, but you know, but alcohol is a gateway to my drug use. You're still not an alcoholic. But if you're sober curious and you want to be off the alcohol, you are welcome in an AA meeting. Doesn't say you have to be an alcoholic. You are still allowed in. But we don't want to hear about your drug use. It doesn't belong in an AA meeting. I know people have contention with this, but it does not belong in an AA meeting. I'm sorry. That belongs in an NA meeting. If I went into an NA meeting and talked about my alcoholism, if I went to an OA meeting and talked about alcoholism, if I went into any of the gambling, porn, any of them, they would kick me out. And rightfully so. So why is it okay to do it to AA? Why is that okay? It's not okay. And there's very good reasons for them, most of them clinical. Not going to get into them, but if you'd like to know, send me a message. Okay. Here's just a quick example, real quick. Not anybody can be an alcoholic. We are born with alcoholism. Not anybody can be an alcoholic. Okay. No matter how hard you fucking try, but anybody can be an addict. That is the biggest difference between the two. I don't know what it feels like to shoot heroin. I don't know what it feels like. And honestly, I don't fucking care. We're here to talk about alcoholism. Does that mean that I won't, absolutely you're welcome in. All right. Time is it? 11:40. This won't take much longer. Well, to me, to you, it might feel like forever. Not long after the man with double stigma knocked up for admission, AA's other group received into its membership a salesman we shall call Ed, a power driver. This one a brash, and brash as any salesman could possibly be. He had at least an idea a minute on how to improve AA. Oh, I love these ones. We could really improve AA by doing that. No, go read your traditions, person with 2 months. I sponsor every week. Well, I'd like to do this. No, Dion, no. Well, I want to open up this and no, Dion. Like, Dion, you can barely even wipe your own ass and you think you're going to go do that. No, let's work on you. He was really good at keeping me focused on where I needed to be, which was in the moment. All right. These ideas he sold to fellow members with the same burning enthusiasm which he distributed automobile polish. But he had one idea that wasn't so sellable. Ed was an atheist. His pet obsession was that AA could get along better without its God nonsense. He browbeat everybody, and everybody expected that he'd soon get drunk. For at the time, you see, AA was on the pious side. There must be a heavy penalty, it was thought, for blasphemy. Distressingly enough, Ed proceeded to stay sober. I love some of this. Distressingly enough, he stayed sober. At length, the time came for him to speak in a meeting. We shivered, for we knew what was coming. He paid a fine tribute to the fellowship. He told how his family had been reunited. He extolled the virtue of honesty. He recalled the joys of 12-step work, and then he lowered the boom. The boom. Cried Ed. I can't stand this God stuff. It's a lot of malarkey for weak folks. This group doesn't need it, and I won't have it. To hell with it. A great wave of outrage, resentment engulfed the meeting, sweeping every member to a single resolve. Out he goes. The elders let Ed aside. They said firmly, you can't talk like this around here. You'll have to quit or get out. With great sarcasm, Ed came back to them. Now do tell, he said. Is that so? He reached over to a bookshelf and took up a sheaf of papers. On top of them lay the foreword to the book Alcoholics Anonymous. Then, under preparation, he read aloud, the only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. Relentlessly, Ed went on, when you guys wrote that sentence, did you mean it or didn't you? Fucking Ed. Nowadays, we just let this person talk because we know. We know sooner or later they're going to find what they need to find for them. We know that now, right? So what do we add in here? Patience, tolerance, kindliness, and love. Remember, the topic is true tolerance. It took me 2 years to get 30 days. Thank God for the tolerance of Bill's brown baggers. Thank you. Right? So dismayed, the elders looked at one another, for they knew they had him cold. He knew he had them cold, so Ed stayed. Ed not only stayed, he stayed sober. So gosh, the program's working. Month after month, the longer he kept trying, the louder he talked against God. The group was in anguish so deep that all fraternal charity had vanished. When, oh when, groaned the members to one another, will that guy get drunk? This is one of the funniest stories in here to me. Quite a while later, Ed got a sales job, which took him out of town. At the end of a few days, the news came in. He'd sent a telegram for money, and everybody knew what that meant. Then he got on the phone. In those days, we go anywhere for a 12-step job, no matter how unpromising. But this time, nobody stirred. Leave him alone. Let him try it by himself for once. Maybe he'll learn a lesson. Now, one of the things that I like about the 12 by 12 and the traditions is it's one long 10th step on how they did things wrong. They are describing how they did this incorrectly and that they were wrong so that we learn from it, so that we don't repeat it. And then what happens? Well, then we become better at our primary purpose, staying sober and helping other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. All right. About 2 weeks later, Ed stole by night into an AA member's house. If you did that now, you get shot. Life was different. Even when I was growing up, we didn't start locking our doors until we moved to Colorado. And even then, it was a few years before we started locking our doors, man. Yeah. Now you got to make sure that door is locked. It sucks. All right. So unknown to the family, went to bed. Daylight found the master of the house and another friend drinking the morning coffee. Noise was heard on the stairs. To their consternation, Ed appeared. Quizzical smile on his lips. He said, have you fellows had your morning meditation? Oh, what? So true tolerance, actually, there was no tolerance. But see what it led to. He found his higher power. It just took time. They quickly sensed that he was quite in earnest. In fragments, his story came out. In a neighboring state, Ed had holed up in a cheap hotel. After all, his pleas for help had been rebuffed. These words rang in his fevered mind. They have deserted me. I have been deserted by my own kind. This is the end. Nothing is left. As he tossed on his bed, his hand brushed the bureau nearby, touching a book. Opening the book, he read. It was the Gideon Bible. Ed never confided any more of what he saw and felt in that hotel room. The year was 1938. He hasn't had a drink since. Nowadays, when old-timers who knew Ed foregather, they exclaim, What if we had actually succeeded in throwing Ed out for blasphemy? What would have happened to him and all the others he later helped? So the hand of providence early gave us a sign that any alcoholic is a member when he says so. All right, let's do today's daily reflection. I'm going to do this one kind of quick. I first heard the short form of the third tradition, the preamble. When I came to AA, I could not accept myself, my alcoholism, or a higher power. If there had been any physical, mental, moral, or religious requirements for membership, I would be dead today. A lot of us would be, huh? If there were all that requirements, we wouldn't have. Most of us wouldn't have made it. I don't think I would have. Bill W. said it in his tape on the traditions that the third tradition is a charter for individual freedom. The most impressive thing to me was the feeling of acceptance from members who are practicing the third tradition by tolerating and accepting me. I feel acceptance is love, and love is God's will for us. So we learned some more today, right? All right, gotta wrap this up. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. Peace out.